My dear friend in Christ, let's go back to Christmas 2016 when Pope Francis chose for his greetings a scene from a 14th century fresco painting by the artist Giotto di Bondon inside a church in Assisi, Italy. Quite unusually, there were two babies in the Nativity scene, one held by Mary and another held by a midwife sitting underneath her. Now the two babies illustrate two sides of Jesus' nature, the human and the divine nature, and it recalls the need to alleviate the sufferings of others. St. Francis of Assisi, who gave us the traditional scene of the crib, had a vision to reach all levels of society, the rich and the poor, the literate and the not-so-literate. Now here's an incident, my dear friend in Christ. In 1994, two Americans answered an invitation from the Russian Department of Education to teach morals and ethics based on biblical principles in various public institutions. And please remember, my dear friend in Christ, those were the days when religious places, when churches were opening up much before Russia was called Russia. While sharing the traditional Christmas story in a certain orphanage, the children's eyes lit up in amazement because they never heard of this story before. The children were then given materials to make a crib and retell the story that they heard. Now 6-year-old Misha's crib looked very, very strange and unusual. There were two babies in the crib. And as she narrated, she said, "And when Maria laid the baby in the manger, Jesus looked at me and asked me if I had a place to stay. And I told him, I have no mama and I have no papa. I have no place to stay. Then Jesus told me I could stay with him. I told him I have a gift to give him. So I said maybe if I could keep him warm, that would be a good gift. And so I stepped into the crib." My dear friend in Christ, if we don't find love in our hearts, we will never find Jesus in a crib or under the Christmas tree. The joy of Christmas is to realize not what we are in life, but who we have in our life and who we are to others. Think about this. There may be someone around you in need of understanding, in need of forgiveness, in need of a shoulder to lean on. When we reach out to them, Christmas comes alive. Jesus comes alive in our relationships. St. Paul sums up what it is to be Christ-like in the letter to Ephesians chapter 4, verse 32. Be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another as God in Christ forgave you. May you have a good and godly day.